Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 on how to spot emotional immaturity in a female covert narcissist. If you missed part 1, make sure to go back and check it out. Okay, so just to recap, in part 1, we talked about how female covert narcissists create an illusion of emotional maturity only to use that facade to control and manipulate you. I explained 5 things that reveal her lack of emotional intelligence, and so in no particular order, here are 5 more. Number 6 is her horrible communication and conflict management skills. Female covert narcissists are constantly surrounded by conflict. They're fighting with this person, not talking to that one, whether it's friends, family, or colleagues, and of course, their partner will get the brunt of it. The truth is, a female covert narcissist has terrible communication skills and even worse conflict management skills. She can't handle even the slightest disagreement without turning it into an epic emotional battle, and all this to protect her ego and maintain control. It's all about winning. So if you try to talk through things calmly and respectfully, she'll either dismiss you, get defensive, or twist everything around to make you the bad guy. And maybe sometimes you are partially at fault. But if almost everything is your fault all the time, there's a problem. So pay attention to how she reacts when you bring up an issue, especially if you're doing so calmly and respectfully. Is her immediate reaction to lash out or get defensive? Does she retreat into self-pity or act out in childish ways, sulking, withdrawing, giving you the silent treatment, or being passive-aggressive, maybe even having a full-blown tantrum? All of these are emotionally immature responses. But keep in mind that we all sometimes struggle during conflict, and we might say things that we later regret. But most of the time, we can take a step back, recognize that we're about to blow a gasket, and slow it down, maybe take a break, a deep breath, whatever we need to calm ourselves so we can resolve the problem in a reasonable way. But a narcissist just shuts down or escalates things to a level that's way out of proportion. So even small issues quickly become huge arguments, and nothing ever gets resolved. And eventually you get to a point where you don't even bother bringing issues up because it only creates more drama and makes things worse. Number 7 is her psychological inflexibility. One of the biggest signs of emotional immaturity in a female covert narcissist is her lack of flexibility. She has a very rigid way of thinking and reacting to the world. It's almost like her mind is set in stone and just can't bend or adapt. In her mind, things can only go one way, her way. And if reality doesn't line up with her expectations, she can't or won't adjust. This rigidity isn't just about controlling situations, it's a deeper issue of psychological inflexibility. A narcissist is trapped in a world where only their thoughts and feelings are right and valid. So when you try to give your opinion or offer an alternative perspective, it's like you just hit a brick wall. Even minor differences in perspectives or plans are like some kind of personal catastrophe to her, creating an overwhelming sense of anxiety and fear. And instead of simply adjusting to the change, she digs her heels in and refuses to cooperate or compromise. It's her way or the highway. And if you don't fall in line, ironically, she will accuse you of invalidating her, all while completely ignoring your perspective. And obviously, this is frustrating and exhausting. Number 8 is splitting. A female covert narcissist struggles with something called whole object relations, and she relies on splitting as a defense mechanism. What this means is she can't see people as multi-dimensional complex beings. She sees them as either all good or all bad. So if you're meeting her needs, validating her, she's got you on a pedestal and idealizes you. But the moment you disappoint her or challenge her in any way, she turns on you and suddenly sees you as a threat, as the enemy. And everything that you've ever done for her is out the window and you're completely worthless. This black and white thinking makes it impossible to stay on her good side. And that's the thing. She doesn't just do this with other people. She has also split herself into two parts. The perfect version she shows the world, and the deeply insecure, shameful part that she tries so desperately to hide. So there is never any middle ground. If you're not inflating her ego and upholding her image of perfection, then you will be devalued, maybe even discarded. And I just want to mention here that the problem with whole object relations and splitting is not only in NPD. It can be present in other disorders too, and also in people who are just emotionally underdeveloped. Number 9 is her struggles with emotional continuity and permanence. For a female covert narcissist, maintaining a sense of emotional connection over time can be very challenging, especially when someone is not physically present, giving them that constant attention, or when there's conflict. Healthy people can stay emotionally connected, even when they're apart or they have a conflict. But for a female covert narcissist, if she's not getting constant attention and validation from you, she feels incredibly insecure, like you don't care anymore, and she disconnects emotionally, abandons you before you can abandon or reject her. So if she feels ignored or undervalued, she might provoke a fight, stir up drama, or guilt trip you to get your attention back. She could become cold and distant, or even turn to someone else, feeling completely justified in cheating on you. In her mind, if you're not constantly supplying her with the attention she feels entitled to, then you're failing her. And it doesn't matter if you're going through something serious like grieving a loss or dealing with a serious health issue. If you're not there supporting her and validating her every need, she will emotionally disconnect from you. Number 10 is envy, jealousy, and constant comparisons. One of the most telling traits of a female covert narcissist is how deeply insecure she really is. Even if she tries to hide it behind a mask of confidence or superiority, at her core, she often feels inadequate and unworthy, which makes her incredibly sensitive to anything that threatens her sense of self-worth, including and especially other people's successes. One of the things you'll notice with a female covert narcissist is how deeply insecure she really is. No matter how much she tries to hide it, she might come off as confident or well put together, but underneath that mask, she's constantly battling feelings of inadequacy and shame. Because of this, she can be incredibly envious and jealous of anyone who seems more successful or is just getting more attention and admiration than her. It's almost like she can't stand to see other people in the spotlight because it threatens her sense of self-worth, as though their success is a reflection of her failure somehow. So instead of celebrating their wins, she'll put them down, dismiss their achievements, or try to compete with them, or even sabotage their efforts. And in her twisted logic, lowering other people elevates her. And not only is she constantly comparing herself to others, but she's constantly comparing you to other people as well, often pointing out how you don't measure up in some area or, in some way. You might hear things like, why can't you just be more like so-and-so? And these constant comparisons are a clear sign that she lacks emotional intelligence, because she's not able to process her own insecurities and deal with them. Instead of understanding her feelings of envy or inadequacy, she externalizes them and tries to diminish other people in order to feel better about herself. Okay, so that covers the last 5 signs, but again, just a quick reminder, everyone struggles with emotional maturity on occasion. That's totally normal. What sets a narcissist apart, though, is how consistent and intense these issues are. For them, it's not just a temporary problem or an occasional bad day. Their emotional immaturity is constant, and it's accompanied with the symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. If you're trying to break free from a narcissistic relationship, please consider reaching out to a therapist in your area. Or if you're not ready to take this step yet, consider my toxic relationship recovery program that I linked in the description section of this video. If you found this content helpful, please like, comment, subscribe, and to learn more about how to break a trauma bond, click on the link above.